Um, Good evening to all our audiences to this fine Monday evening. Welcome to our first episode of Learning Unfiltered, where we will be addressing the issues and concerns regarding all the changes that have caused due to this pandemic. Starting with one of the major issues that are regarding our children's growth and development and their mental health in retrospect of today's pandemic. And today's first speaker, or shall I say expert, to join us for our first session. I humbly welcome and invite Dr. Ushma Patel here. Let me just add her. Hello, Dr. Ushma. I humbly welcome you to our first session, to our first episode of Learning Unfiltered. We are really grateful for you that you could join us today. And I welcome you. A little bit of introduction for all our audiences to know you better. Dr. Ushma Patel is a consultant pediatric neurologist at Setu Child Neuro Clinic at Civil Hospital in Surat. She has completed her fellowship in pediatric neurology and epilepsy from Bharati Vidyapeeth, Pune, and her MD Pediatrics from Government Medical College. She has both experience and training in behavioral pediatrics, with her special focus on psychosocial aspects of children and adolescents' development and behavioral problems. She has been working really close with many parents and NGOs in the same field. I humbly welcome you, and also for all our audiences.
Good evening, everyone.
How are you doing, ma'am? And it is such an honor to have you here. And thank you so much for sparing some time for us. We know that you are a frontline warrior right now. You are working tremendously and hardworking right now in the hospital itself during this pandemic. So we really thank you for coming here and taking the time out for us and our audiences.
Thank you so much for such kind words. We have been doctors, so we are always in front line, always.
That's absolutely true, ma'am. Okay, for our audience who have just joined us, today's first topic for our first session is parenting in the times of COVID-19. And we have prepared a set of questions for Dr. Ushma Patel that I think all of our audiences would want to know. But again, to all your audiences, if you have any questions that you want to ask Dr. Ushma, you can write to us in the comment section, and we will be sure to answer them. Ushma ma'am will be sure to answer them. Yeah, ma'am.
Yeah,
anything
sure.
anything that you want to say before we start the sessions? We'll just wait for a few more audience and then we can start. So before that,
Yeah, sure. So I have been knowing Stuti from school times, and I'm knowing Prodigy from the time it has started. And I know how much it is working for creative schooling and creative education. It is working really very good, because the thing is that in these times when schooling has become a burden for children, when you provide something to children which is interesting, it becomes easy for them to learn. And learning is the key, not education. When you learn, education becomes important. So Prodigy is doing a good work, great work. In fact, I must say that whatever the way they are providing for the children, it's really very good and very interesting for the children.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for your kind words. Should we just go ahead and get started with our questions?
Yeah, sure, no problem.
Okay, so some of the questions that we have, the very first question that I would want to ask you, ma'am, is how do we explain younger kids, especially like kids who are younger in age, the dangers of this virus and the importance of social distancing right now?
So basically, this COVID times are stressful for everyone, and to make it understandable for children is difficult for parents. So when we have to explain anything to our children, we have to think from the perspective of a children. So when we are dealing with younger children, we can personify things. Like we can say that this COVID virus are tiny villains which are going to attack us, and we have to fight against it. And then they will feel that they are on mission. What parents have said is they are on mission to that. And then mission, they will latch on a larger thing. And when this kind of instructions are given to children that this coronavirus is a tiny villain, They will feel that they are on a bigger mission and parents' instructions are beyond words now. Like it will be a great mission for them and they will fight against it. We can explain to them about the dangers, about the symptoms, like what is coughing, how headache will come, how fever will come, but it will be very, very petty thing for them. They will not understand it like that. For younger children, you should personify things. For elder children, when it comes to them, we can explain them directly. We can ask them what they know about this virus, what are their queries about this virus, and then we can give them information. If they have any misinformation, we should correct it. And for that, parents should themselves be very well aware and they should know the real facts about this virus. So they can consult their physician first and then they can actually get the correct information and then let the children know. So dealing with both age group is different. Like for younger children, explaining them is different. For elder children, explaining them is different. And regarding social distancing, I feel that people are feeling that social distancing is emotional distancing also. So we should
Yeah,
clearly understand that social distancing is basically physical distancing. It is not
true.
emotional distancing. And this is the way we should explain it to our children. We should not let them feel that they are emotionally distant from people when they are following social distancing. So social distancing is basically physical distancing in a form that we should avoid going to public places. We should avoid going to places like school, parks, malls, and all those places where there are many people. And if we are like bound to go to such places, we should wear masks. We should keep a distance of at least 6 feet from one another. Like to explain this 6 feet distance to a small children is also difficult. We have to make them understand in a way, like for example, we can say, you can imagine a straight door which is lying flat between us. So you have to keep that much distance, we can say. Or we can explain them in a way that you can go till that car and you can say hi to the person. Or you can go to our door and say hi to your friend in the neighbor. So this is the way we can make them explain. And we also have to explain them that why this social distancing is important. That it is going to cause, like if we are having a direct contact with any affected person, it can cause you harm, it can cause you, it can make you affected with COVID virus. So we have to explain the importance of social distancing. So that is the way that they will understand that this is important. We have to always reassure them that we are all in this together. They are not alone. We are fighting this together and they are not alone and they are safe. They should feel healthy and they should feel safe. So this is necessary. And the main thing I feel that we should always remind them that what is in their power. Like they should always have a thorough hand washing frequently. They should wear masks when they go out. So these are the things like this will give positive vibes also. They will feel that we are fighting and we have this power of frequent hand washing and doing these things that will keep this virus up. So in this way, I feel that child should be tackled about coronavirus.
I think that's fabulous. So basically, if I understand correctly, to explain a child in his own language, I think is what you're trying to say, in a language that they would absolutely understand. So for younger kids, maybe trying to make them a superhero by giving them some special powers by hand wash I think that's a fantastic idea, ma'am. I think all the parents would definitely want to try that now. Okay, moving on again to our parents. If you have any questions for Dr. Ushma Patel, we will be taking them. Just answer any of your questions, like just write any of your questions below in the comment section, and we will be answering them. Yeah, ma'am. Let's move on to our next question, which is how to stay positive and create that environment for the children at home, because we don't have much to do and we don't have many places to go. So how to create that positive environment at the house for children especially?
So basically, we are trying to make our child understand that this bad guy is outside and we being good guy, we are staying inside. So we have to first of all list out things which can be done during this time and which cannot be done during this time. So we have to list out the things like we cannot go out, we have to stay home, we are doing all the online shopping things, we are not going out to go out for shopping, we are not going to our grandparents' places, and all these things we have to explain them. But with that, we always have to explain them what we can do. That is very necessary because we are giving out all the negative things to the child that you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you cannot do like this. We always have to think that what we can do. So make a bigger picture of what can be done. Like they can always FaceTime, they can make video calls, they can make phone calls to their friends, they can write letters which have lost kind of meaning this time. They can always write
Absolutely.
letters. They can draw a picture for their grandparents or for their friends, and then they can email it. They can discuss those pictures on video calling and all those things. That can be done. So this should be made a bigger view, like a bigger picture for the child that what can be done. That is very important. And also we have to point out that this is screen time for children. We should acknowledge that everyone like who are not staying in our house, who are staying in another house are also going through the same phase. So they should know
Hmm.
that this is like an regulation for their emotional response. They will understand that everyone is
Yeah.
going through this time. This is different time, not difficult time. That should be made clear to the child. And
It's
mainly
a
we should
different
also
time,
let
not a
them,
difficult time. Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's a great way to see this.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
that's
Please
the
go
way we should make our children see that this is a different time, not a difficult time. And the main thing I feel that we should always organize our day. That will really help to keep the vibes positive. Like we should keep the things as much as possible like before the lockdown. Like we should keep our routine. We should wake up early. Don't let your children oversleep at night in the morning because making them oversleep, if we feel that we'll have finished our work and then we'll have all the time for the children, no, that is not the way.
ahead.
Wake up your children early, involve them in household activities, involve them in any routine activities, and then they should get ready, be prepared for their classes, or do some work. Like they should have a routine that is very necessary. Organize your day, keep weekdays for working and weekends for fun like it was before. If you will not
Hmm.
keep it this way, it will become very difficult to pass the day, to kill the time. So it is
Yes.
necessary that you organize and plan out the entire day. And the third thing I would like to say in this is that we have to do some kind of physical exercise, be it in the morning, be it in the evening, be it in the noon, be it at night. Okay, night I will say 2 hours before sleep, but you can do it even at night. Okay, so keep some time, at least 30 minutes for any form of physical exercise, because that will really help to give an adrenaline rush in your body, and this adrenaline rush will keep your entire day positive. So these are the things which we can do to keep our environment stimulating and positive at home.
Absolutely. I think I completely agree. And not just for the children, I think that this entire routine, the process of organizing and scheduling your entire day can be really helpful for the adults as well,
Yes,
I believe.
definitely, definitely.
Again, parents, any questions, we are happy to take them. Moving on to the next one, ma'am. Since there isn't much to do or, go to during these times, how do you keep up the morale of the children? Like any activities or one-on-one sessions or anything that you would suggest that the parents should encourage and do?
So see, these are the times definitely we can't go around much. But when we see at the brighter side, we can see that these are the times when we can explore our children. We can
Hmm.
know what has been pending. We can discover what they have been trying to do from a long time. So these are the times actually to discover and explore your child, I feel. So first, I can say that you can always try to give options to your child, or you can let them explore like what they want to do. They can go for any musical instrument, they can go for any music which they like, they can go for craft, they can go for Legos. They like many children like only playing with blocks. Like you can give them option whatever they like, so let them
Indoor
explore.
games, basically.
Yeah, so let them explore that game, let them enjoy that and make it a hobby. Like they should have a hobby in their lifetime from now. So they should build that culture of having a hobby from now onwards. That will help in a later life. To create this is the best time to create their hobby. So create a hobby and dedicate at least 1 hour to that hobby each day. Then secondly, we can say that they can always be involved in activities which they never did before, like gardening, like cooking.
Yeah.
We never involve our children in kitchen. So they
Yeah.
will also know that they are liking cooking, like they like biology by knowing the garden. They know they like cooking by going into the kitchen. So they will know these things which they never did before. And this thing should be in such a way that you should be careful but not overprotective with the child. So you should always make them aware about the safety gears that are available while doing gardening, while doing cooking. But you should not always be like, no, don't do this, don't do like that. You should be careful but not overprotective. You should keep this thing in mind, because when you let them be, they will be. So they will explore when they will be on their own. They will try to create new things when they are on their own. Okay? So this can be done. Third thing, I'll say that this is the best time to inculcate the habit of reading. Parents should
Reading.
themselves start reading a book, and I feel that child should select book which they like. They should take it, sit in the room together. The parent will read their own book, and the child will read his or her own book. They will do it on their own. They should not. It should not be like that. Parent will read to the child, and child will listen. Not like that. The child should have their own book, and they should read it. And whenever the need is there, like they are not understanding or they are not getting it, the parent should help. But this habit of reading will really help the child in later life. Then one more thing can be done. If possible, we can devote some time to spirituality and religion. I will not say that go to temple or do all the worship things and all this, but definitely we can have some bhajans, or we can have some songs in the morning, or we can dedicate some 10-15 minutes to puja, or we can always make our child listen to the stories from Mahabharata or Ramayana or any other mythological characters which we feel relatable in this time. So if possible, we can do this thing also. And the most important thing in this time is that the child should understand there are two sides to everything. So this COVID time, as I have said, different but not difficult. So they should understand that this time is good, this time is different, but I am getting some benefit from doing these things during this time. So this will really help to kill time in the children, like kill time during the day for the children. So like reading, gardening, playing, many activities can be done during this time. And this will really help to keep the child busy throughout the day.
Absolutely. I think two of my favorite quotes from you will be, these times are not difficult, they're different, and let the child be. I think these are most important takeaways from you. Ma'am, just one question that I received, a lot of we are joining, and there was one question from Het Deepu. She is asking us, or he, I'm not sure, asking us, the parent is asking us how to bring creativity to a classroom if the classroom strength is 60. I mean, I think maybe not entirely up to the classroom, how to bring creativity in terms of like a home environment also, if you could help answer that question.
So see, I will say that when we are talking about creativity, creativity is something which is in our mind, I feel. So it is not that we will create a beautiful environment, we will create a decorative environment, and everything will be creative. So it should be like plan out the activities that will keep the time occupied. So when we are talking about 60 people in the house, or 25 people in the house, or 60 children in the class, or anything like that, so we have to plan things. Only in that way we can make the things creative. There is no other option. Like we'll give each and everyone a task, and they will do it, and they will feel creative. That is not the way. So we can make it creative by dividing people into groups, giving them tasks in groups, and then they will come up with their own way of doing that task. And then someone should be a moderator, and they will discuss that how this way is helpful, or how that way is helpful, or how this way is better, or etc. etc. That can be discussed. So same thing can be done in the house also. Like everyone can be given some form of game or some form of activity. Like you are given some sticks and some ribbons, and you have to make something like mother and child.
Basically assign tasks group-wise and make it like a healthy competition sort of a thing.
Yeah, so mother and one child will make something, and father and another child will make something, and then they will come together and they can create something out of that. That is one way we can make things creative. Another way is that we can always like plan out things prior to making people together. So like that is the way of creating excitement in people. Like we can say that today I'll say that tomorrow we are going to do this activity together, all of us. Like we are going to play Monopoly tomorrow, and we are going to play board game tomorrow, and like I am going to win, you are not going to win. You can say like that. So that will make things exciting. So in that way, we can say the things prior to doing it, and that way the people will feel interest in doing that. So these are the two ways I feel that we can make the things more creative and more exciting for the person who is doing it.
Absolutely. I think that very well said, Doctor. I hope we answered your question. We have Jaju Ankita joining us. Hello, ma'am. If you have any question, please feel free to answer. Write in the comment section. We'll move on to our questions, ma'am. Your take on online classes, and this is coming from our side, obviously. Your take on online classes and screen time optimization, basically, because it's all about virtuality. Right now, we are also virtual. So what is your take on it, ma'am?
So see, this online class is a bit debatable and controversial topic in this time. So
Absolutely.
everyone is having their own view, I feel. Like as many heads are there, so many views are there. So I say that many people believe that these online classes are done to keep their child stay in touch with school, with friends, with studies, that it is helping them in some or other way. Some people really feel that this online classes are just school's way of repaying the fees they have taken. And the third opinion about the people is that at least the child will sit in the class for 2 hours and I'll be free from child. I will do all the activities and courses that are pending during this time. And like this are
I think everyone will agree with this one. Yeah.
So there are many views, there are many things that people believe, and these are like their personal opinion. So this, what I'm going to say now is my personal opinion. So I feel that online classes is the norm of this time. Like it is a necessity of COVID times. We can't let a child be in the home without doing anything, without having any classes, without having any studies, or without having any interaction with the children of his or her age. That is very important. The main thing is studies. Studies is definitely important. It has its own place in everyone's life. But the main thing is the child interacting in that environment which is there in the school. And the child interacting with the children of his age is really very important. And we should not let people, like children be children be not aware of that thing. We cannot just make them cut off from the world.
I did that. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I feel that we can take some measures while making a child attend online classes. When child is less than 7 years, it is always recommended that parents have a supervised online classes. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So they can always be present with the child as much as possible. I will not say that you should be attending the entire 1.5 hour class with the child, but at least as much time as possible, you should sit with the child, help him understand these things, that what is going on in the class, how the class is going on, what are the activities that have been done in the class. So just be there beside the child. Then we can always know. When we are attending the class with the child, we always know that what is being provided to the child, what is useful from what is being provided to the child. And we can always make little changes. Like we can tell the teacher that my child is not able to cope up with this thing, or my child is not able to do this activity on their own, etc. Like we can always know what is better for the child when we are attending the class with the child. So I recommend that people, like parents, should attend this classes with the children at least when they are less than 7 years, if possible, as much time as possible. For children about 7 years, please continue.
No, please. It's all you.
So when child is above 7 years, they can be on their own. They can attend the class, and most of the child is very self-compliant with their class work, with their homework, and all these things they do on their own. But in this also, I feel that parents should take interest in whatever is going on in the class. Because when you take interest, the child feels stress-free. Because when he is doing everything on his or her own, like he is doing his or her homework, like doing the activities, like doing the project, doing the models, whatever is given in the class, they are doing on their own, they will feel the stress. Because they are doing it alone. When they are in the class, they have their friends to discuss with. They have their school teacher to discuss with. But in this online phase, the thing is that the teacher will not be available during the entire 5 hours like before. The child will be given some work and he will be on his own to do that work. So at this time, the parents become very important and they should take the role of teacher and of the friend or of the children of the same girl. So I feel that when the child is above 7 years, the parents should continue to take interest in their studies and should always ask that if they need any help or if they are feeling stressed of studies or anything like that. So they should take interest in the child first. And one thing can be done about screen optimization. I feel that if possible, the classes should be attached to TV or laptop. Like this thing we are doing on the mobile, that should be avoided as much as possible. So we can just take this thing to TV or laptop, and that will really help to maintain the screen balance. Because see, at least 1 or 2 hours the child will be taking the screen. So if possible, it should be taken to TV or laptop. So this will really help to maintain some screen balance.
Ma'am, we have one of our viewer, Ankita again. She's saying, but due to online classes, there are they're more and more addicted towards gadgets. They are only interested in gadgets and they don't want to read books. I think her issue is that they are losing in touch with the books and like the physical, the physical resources that they have, and they are only interested in gadgets now. So what is your take on that, ma'am?
So see, obviously this thing is difficult. Even when we are having children read normal books, like when they are having a normal life, because the entire day they are going through their own books of classwork and homework. They don't like to go through books, like other books also, interesting books also. Because this is a common issue. We are reading the books entire day now, we don't want to read any other book. The same thing is that we are doing the entire thing on the gadgets, and now we want to do this thing on the gadget. We don't want to read. The same issue is there. Even in our normal routine life and even in these different times, the issue is same. So how to cope up with it? Like we let the child select the book first thing. Like they should select which book they want to read, what they want to read, and like they should be given a timeline. Like this book we are buying today, or this book I am going to give you today, and you will have to finish it within 1 week. And only if you finish it within 1 week, I'll let you do this activity, or we will do the thing which you like. So initially it can be a reward kind of thing which will inspire the child to read the book. And later on when he finds the book interesting, he will read it on his own. But initially you might have to like do some
push
or reward.
Yeah, some sort of incentive towards that.
Yeah, some sort of incentive or some sort of reward will help initially. So this is one way we can make them read the book. The inclination towards the gadget is a big issue, and I feel that it should be a strict control. Like the gadget should be in the strict control of parents. They should not be given to the children without any laws. And parents should be strict that my gadgets are not available to children. Like I'll use mother's phone if father's phone is not there. If father's phone is there, I will not use mother's phone, and that is not the way. If possible, keep this phone separate, and then you make them understand that these other phones are not for you. And it should be clear to the child that this is my phone and this is the way I need to use the phone for my age. So parents should be in strict control of all the gadgets in the house, and it should not be that I'll let you see the TV for 2 hours, I'll let you see the video game, I'll let you play video game for 2 hours, I'll let you see this program for 2 hours. That is not the way. In that way, they will know how to get those things from you. So you have to be in the strict control. It is not a reward which you give to your child. First thing is very important, that gadgets are not the reward which are to be given to the children. If you want to give a reward, give it a book. Like give it some game, give some books or anything like that which can be rewarding to the child in real life also. But don't give gadget as a reward to your children. Never. Because in that way, they will use the gadget as a rewarding thing forever.
Yeah, so, it will be addicting.
Yeah. So we can cut down, they can always, if they feel that if they want to use gadgets more, we can see, as I am telling, you can buy a Kindle if it is possible. Or you can take this entire mobile thing to the TV. and let them do their work on a TV or laptop on a bigger screen. I just need to say that you take to the bigger screen. So make them use their gadgets for their classwork also, and you can let them read these books also on the gadgets. There's no problem in that also. Like they should not
Yeah.
read a physical book. Physical book is not a compulsion. So they can read these books on TV also, and they can read these books on laptop also, on Kindle also, on tablet also. That's not the issue. The thing is that it should be useful to the child.
Right. Absolutely. I think that answers a lot of questions ours and the audiences as well. And I think we can all agree on that. Again, to all the viewers who just join us, we are here with Dr. Ushma Patel, who is a consultant pediatric neurologist at the Setu Child Neuro Clinic. And we are talking about parenting in the times of COVID. Moving on to our next question, ma'am. As a frontline responder and seeing this disease from the first row itself and fighting this disease, if I may say so, what advice in terms of nutrition and health tips basically would you like to give all the parents right now?
So, see, considering this COVID virus that has come to this world for the first time, we should understand that it is going to spread. It is going to affect majority of the population, and it is there to stay. So see, this thing should be clear in our mind as a parent also, and then only we can explain this thing to our children. So this is going to stay. So what is important is immunity and awareness. So due to the mass media, I feel that there is lots and lots of things which are making people aware of what can be done during COVID times and what cannot be done during this time. So the basic concept is that this COVID virus is a respiratory virus that can spread through contact with the affected person when we are not wearing any safety measures. So this is like a simple few words in which we can understand the COVID virus. So it is a respiratory virus which can spread through direct contact when we are not wearing any safety measures. So this should be explained to the child also, and this is explainable to ourselves also. So the thing important is self-awareness and self-care. Regarding nutrition, I will say that there are two most important vitamins which are necessary for good immunity, and they are vitamin C and vitamin D. So we are not getting much of the sun exposure during this monsoon time, and also there is reduced going outside thing. So also the sun exposure is reduced overall also. So we are most likely to be deficient in vitamin D, which is very necessary for our routine good immunity. So one thing is vitamin D, and the another thing coming up is vitamin C. Because we are not taking enough sour fruit in our diet, we are not having lemon juices in the morning or in the evening, we are not eating fruits which are sour and those things. So we are not getting vitamin C and vitamin D in sufficient quantity during our daily life. So I feel that you should include 2 cups or 2 glasses of lemon juice. Like in the morning you take one, in the evening you take one. You can always include oranges and gooseberries or kiwi and all those kind of fruits in your routine diet. About vitamin D, I feel that it is like most of the people are deficient in vitamin D. Being a doctor also, I am deficient in vitamin D, we can say. So it is necessary that you consult your physician or any other frontline worker or any other person who is like knowing about this thing. Then you can start your vitamin D and calcium supplements, and you should continue it until you are like you are sufficient person in that thing. So it should not be deficient in you. Vitamin C and vitamin D are really very important. And whenever possible, you can always have your sun exposure of 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. of 30 minutes whenever possible. So that is also an option. Another nutrient which is coming up during this time is zinc. So the zinc is very easily available from our vegetarian as well as non-vegetarian diet. You can have it from meat, you can have it from nuts, you can have it from beans, kiwi, or any other fruit or any other vegetables which we are eating daily. So zinc is necessary, but it is available from our daily diet. But the thing is that when we are discussing with parents about children, that you have to make your child eat these things, the main question of parent is how to make child eat this thing. So The concern is that we are ready to give our child everything, but the child is not eating it. The child is not having it. So what to do?
Hmm.
What we can do to help our child have it? So the thing is that the first tip for that is that you should not run after your child for food. Let them
Okay.
understand hunger. Let them understand I am hungry. Give when they ask. Don't go after them taking their food plate, have it, eat it, it's your time, take it, this, that. No. Don't run after your child with food. First thing.
Hmm.
Second, you should not give your child a direct question. Like you should give them option, but not a question. So you should say that will you have like banana or apple? You should not ask them that which fruit you want to have. You should not talk like that. You should always give them
Yeah.
option that do you want apple or banana? When you ask them
Hmm.
questions that do you want which fruit you want to have, they won't have answer. They will have no. They won't have any
Hmm.
answer. They will have no. So you give option. Don't ask them questions. Okay. Third thing is that make this thing very clear to every family member in the house that it's parents' responsibility to provide food and child's responsibility to eat. So this
Yeah.
thing should be very clear to every family member in the house, directly or indirectly. But that parents should provide and child should have it. It should not be
Hmm.
that parents are providing and parents are making them eat also. The entire responsibility is not on the parents. Okay.
Parents.
And for everyone, I feel that two family meals, one breakfast and one snack, they are like basic necessity for everyone, including children, including adults, including elders, everyone. So this is basic
Hmm.
necessity for everyone. They should have at least this much diet. And the last thing is that they should never go for punishment when the child rejects food. This is very
Okay.
important. Because when child
Okay.
rejects, we feel that he is rejecting this and he will never eat. So never go for any punishment when the child is rejecting food. You make the person sit, you make the child sit, ask him why he is rejecting food, discuss with him and discuss some options which can be given to the child. Like if you don't like this roti, you will have to eat this bhakri. So make him understand this way. Make him or her understand in this way. That if you don't like this roti, you will have to eat bhakri. So you select and discuss with
Yeah.
this options with the child. This will help him or her to understand that I'll have to eat. I can select, but I'll have to eat. So this thing
Eat
is
anyway. Yeah.
clear to the child. And the thing which is important for the immunity, I feel that one should try to increase the lung capacity because it is very important. So to improve the lung capacity, we can always do some kind of physical exercise. We can have a high energy play in the house. We can do cycling. We can do skipping. But anything for at least 30 minutes that will help to increase your lung capacity.
Lung capacity. Okay. So when you say lung capacity, do you mean like your what do you say? Your I can't exactly find stamina level. Is that what you're saying to increase that stamina level?
No, I feel that stamina level and lung capacity is different. Lung capacity is basically your oxygenation. So the
Okay.
your
Okay.
body should entirely be oxygenated. So that
Mm-hmm.
should be during this COVID time because it is difficult when we are not having any mobility, when we are sitting at one place, our lungs are also functioning at very low level. So to improve
Okay.
it, you should always have a physical exercise of some 30 minutes or 50 minutes or whatever is feasible to you. So at least 30
Hmm.
minutes is necessary to improve your lung capacity and improve your basic oxygenation in the body.
Perfect. Perfect. I think I have to start doing this because whatever you're saying, we are certainly not following it. So it's really helpful for me as well. Thank you once again, Doctor. Any questions that we can have from the audience, please feel free to ask them. For everyone who's joining right now, we have Dr. Ushma Patel. She is a neurologist and we are talking about parenting in the times of COVID-19. So please feel free to ask your questions. Moving on to the next question, ma'am. Do you want to take a break? Have some water if that's completely okay, ma'am.
No, it's fine. I'm okay.
Okay. Okay, great. So for the next question, we have COVID-19 has taken away our daily work, home, and school routines. So how do we have that balance or bring about a proper structure in our lives now, right now? like that proper balance?
See, I basically feel that it is always difficult to find balance between work and home. Even in our
Hmm.
normal time, it's difficult to find a balance between work and home.
Oh,
And in this
absolutely.
time, it's a real struggle. Like it's really difficult to find balance between work from home and home. Okay, it's like
Exactly.
we are so accustomed to live a life of going out and then coming back home that it's
Hmm.
difficult to see a life that is completely inside the house. So
Exactly.
it's difficult definitely in this time to strike a balance, a perfect balance, or at least I can say a average balance between work from home and home. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think the first thing we can do about this is that we can create a workplace in our home. At least not a complete room, I will say, that is dedicated to our work. We can have a corner that is
Hmm.
dedicated to work. And even for children, there should be a corner that is dedicated to their school or to their studies, or where they will only do their school work, class work, homework, etc. So we can make tiny changes, like minimal changes in our interior to make that corner completely for work or completely for school. We can like put some posters of alphabets according to their age, like they like whatever they like according to their age. We can put up some posters. We can have a blackboard where they can write about their homework or their classwork or whatever they want to write. So we can have a blackboard in their place. For a workplace for adults, we can have a corner that will have some motivational printouts, or that will have a small plant on your desk. That these things really help to keep that
The
spirit of work.
environment. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So first of all, we should create a workplace in our house, and that is very important. Second thing, I feel that the schedule should be followed.
Hmm.
Don't take this time as a lazy time that my job is going to start at 10 o'clock. I'll wake up at 9:30. I'll just freshen up, change my clothes, and I'll just sit in the work. So you should
Hmm.
always be prepared for your work. You when you are not physically and mentally prepared for your work, you will not like it. The same thing
Hmm.
implies for you also. So you should wake him up at 7 o'clock. Even if his class is at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, you should wake him or her up at 7 o'clock.
Hmm.
Let him take his or her time to get ready. And they will get ready, have breakfast, have some time with the parents. If they want to do some work, they should prepare their school books, they should prepare their uh, things which are needed for the class during that day. So they should prepare those things, and then they should sit for the class at 9 o'clock. So in this way, they can be mentally prepared for the thing which is going to come. And this is really important. When you start doing it and when you are not doing it, you will feel the difference that how much important this thing is. So this can be
Hmm.
done. Then the things these are different, and like these are different times, so they should be made aware to the child that like things are going to be this way for a long time. It can stay for this way for 2 months, 3 months, for the entire year. We don't know when this is going to
Hmm.
end. So the child should gradually be prepared for this kind of life, and he should be prepared that this is going to be the norm for a long time, or maybe for some months. This is the way I am going to meet my friends. This is the way I am going to meet my school teacher. This is the way I am going to school. So he should be like, I am going to school in this way, and I am meeting my friends in this way. This should be a culture. This should be like a habit for the children. So
Yeah.
in this way, child should be make understand about this entire thing, I feel. And the thing is that you should always keep your vibes and thoughts as much positive as possible. Take help of some applications, I feel. There are always applications for yoga, meditation, exercise, or even I feel there are some applications to help you cope up with your stress also. So you can take
Hmm.
help of applications. You should not feel ashamed of being down or depressed or anxious or stressed. You should not feel that I am a mother. I should not feel this way. If I feel this way, then the entire family will go down and everyone will depressed. No. If you're feeling it, just say it to your family. Just say it to your children. Don't keep children out of this things. Don't like say
Okay.
that they are so small, they will not understand. Sit together, sit with everyone, make a like a meeting thing, and make like speak out whatever you are feeling, that I'm feeling so stressed in these times that I'm not going out, it is so difficult for me to pass the time, and whatever I am doing is just surrounding you, there is nothing which is involving me. So make your family understand this thing. Speak out. When you speak out, when you talk about it, the child will understand that it is important, it is necessary, and it is really helpful when we speak out. And they will also learn to speak out whenever necessary. So in this way, we can have a balance between our work and home, or work from home and home.
I think that's yeah, that's actually a really great way to deal with this. To basically accustom yourself to a workplace in your own house, and the entire house, like where you meet your friends and then where you work, and the entire setting could really help cope with that work from home environment. Absolutely, ma'am. You talked about depression and basically when you're feeling down, which brings me to our next question: is how do one deal with anxiety, depression, or basically negative thoughts that maybe teen kids, even like spouses, may face, even yourself, maybe as a mother or as a sister or as like a teen kid, or even your parents, basically whoever deals with this. How can one cope up with that?
So see, I feel that depression is not the thing of this COVID times. Like it is
Yeah.
not brought, it is not brought up with this COVID thing. Like it is there, it's been there, it was there, and it will be there. So
Yeah.
depression is there, anxiety is there, stress is there. Our life is not very easy. Like it is not like we woke up in the morning, we get ready and we go to work and we come back home, everything is good, everything is fine. It is not like that. It is never
Mm-hmm.
perfect. So first, we have to accept that we are depressed, we are stressed. It is difficult for us to cope up with this time. So first of all, we have to accept this thing. And for this acceptance, it is very necessary to look within us, to look inside us, that how I was as a person before this thing and how I am now. So, see, basically, I can give an example. Before COVID times, I was very happy, go lucky person. I was very jolly. Whenever I wanted to do shopping, I can do shopping. Whenever I wanted to buy anything, I will go here, I will go there, and that will take off my mind of all the things which are disturbing me. But now in this COVID times, whenever I am sad, whenever I am down, I can't do anything. I am just scrolling through Facebook videos. I am just going through Instagram
Yeah.
stories, and I am doing nothing useful. And this thing is going to make me feel down. Definitely. And this is the gross difference which we are seeing nowadays. The main difference is this. Whenever we felt down or whenever we felt sad, we used to go out before. And now what we are doing when we are sad, we are just scrolling through things. So this has to be changed. You cannot fight with your depression scrolling through Facebook or scrolling through Instagram. It is not going to help. You will have to do something, you will have to put efforts to fight against it. So what can be done? See, there are self-help books, motivational books which can help. There are apps which can help, as I have mentioned before, like some apps like Calm or Sidekick, or there are many apps which can help you to cope up with this stress time. You can always go through videos of people, like some motivational speeches, or also there are many videos which are coming up for this issue of mental health in COVID times. So you can always go through those videos and understand that I am depressed, I am stressed, and I need some help from other people. So first thing is that you should understand that thing, that I need help.
Hey.
You should shout out for help. You should not keep it within you. Like you should not dying inside with this thing. So you should shout out for help, that I need help. I need to talk with someone. That someone can be your child also. You should never underestimate your child. You will never know when you talk about something with your child and they will come up with such a brilliant solution that you will be shocked and you will be surprised, like, oh my God, I never thought of that. So you should never underestimate your child. Involve them as much as possible. Consider them your equal. You should not be always overprotective about them, that I will not make him face this, I will not make her face this. You should not be so overprotective about your child. Consider them your equal, and then only they will understand that this thing can come up to them when they become adult. They can also face similar situation. What to be done during this time. So
So
this
true.
thing, the main thing is speak out, shout out for help, talk with someone, do things which will help you cope up with this thing. Because you are the best person for yourself. You should always understand that. Second thing that helps in coping up this anxiety is routine. I am stressing over this thing a lot, that you should organize your life. You should have a plan for your day. You should always have everything managed, and you should always have everything planned out for the day. I'm not telling that it should be perfect. It should be like obsessive compulsive behavior, that you are doing this way and it should be done this way and it should be done that way. But you should have
Mhm.
at least a plan for that day, that today I'll get this thing repaired, or today I'll go out, or today I'll buy these things for the house, or today I'll make my child read this paragraph of the story, or today I'll make him listen about this thing. Anything can be done, but have some plan for the day.
Hmm.
That will really
Absolutely.
help to keep your mind occupied. The main thing
Hmm.
for this time, the main food for our mind is occupation. Like we
Okay.
need something to keep our mind occupied, and we should know that. To keep your mind occupied in something or other, maybe it might be involving you only, or it might be involving your family, it might be involving house or anything. But have some plan that can be followed throughout the day. Keep a
Day.
schedule, keep your life organized. That is very important. You can also have, as I have said before, that you should stress on physical exercise. Make it a family habit. Like go for
Hmm.
cycling, go for walk, play some form of games in the house like running around. You can go on terrace. Terrace is not restricted in COVID time. I mean,
Yeah.
I think 50% people won't have gone anywhere outside their house, not even to the terrace. You can take your sanitizer, sanitize the place, and play on the terrace. There's no issue in that. It will be open,
Absolutely.
it will be ash, and it will be like you will feel something different from your house.
Yeah.
So
House.
terrace is always an option. So you can go to your terrace and you can play with your child, at least not daily, but at least twice or thrice in a week. That will help to change the environment of the house. So
I'm
this can help.
absolutely.
But the main thing is that you have to speak out and you have to talk with someone about this. And it will really
And
help to,
understand that there is no shame in asking for help, and that you
yeah,
in fact need it.
yeah.
Coming to our next question, and I think this is a very important question, and a lot of moms would feel this way, is how, like, what is the, like, seeing our culture in India, obviously, what can be the role of fathers, like, in the parenthood during these times?
See, I feel that parents are equally important and have their own role in upbringing of the child. You can never say mother is the most important part of child's life, or you can never say father is the only person who is responsible for all the disciplinary thing in child's life. It is never like
Mm-hmm.
that, because every parent is different as every child is different. See, the main thing is that in our culture, parent is father is less available and even less accessible.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so the thing is that it becomes difficult for father to give time or to give some inputs in children's life. It is difficult. But see, the thing is that a father can be what every girl looks into a man when she grows up, and a father can be a person what each boy strives to become when he becomes adult. This should be very clear to a father also, because when
Hmm.
he understands this thing that I am going to be this person to my child, then he will understand how much important he is in the life of family, in the life of a children. So this should be clear to the father, that how much important he is in upbringing of the child. Second thing, we can say that it is always possible for the father to take out time from any busy schedule for the child. So it is
Hmm.
possible. It is entirely up to father how much he want to give to the children. But when they
Mhm.
give even few minutes or even few hours or even few, so some amount of time to their child, the child will understand that the father is available for me. I can talk to him. He will understand that father is a person who is prioritizing things for me, for family,
Hmm.
and he will understand the value of this thing for his or her later life also. that we have to prioritize things when we want to take out time for the person or the thing. And this will help him learning also that this is necessary for a good life and good family also. Then father in child, I mean children is in equal need of both the parents. He is never in need of like I'll only need my mother or I'll only need my father. So father should understand this. And he should, if possible, I will say, if possible, father should wake up early, get ready before his or her children wakes up, because before his children wakes up, and then he can help the children to get ready. He can have breakfast with them. He can help them with their classwork, or he can help them with their homework, or he can just sit beside them and be available for them. Just be available for him or her. Because this will be like when he can't speak, when child will be dying to say something, or when he want to speak out, he will be very much like whom to speak up. Whom should I speak? Sometimes child feel very much cut off from their mother, and this happens very frequently in teenage. Like they don't like
Yeah.
their mothers. This is very
Yeah.
frequent in teenage that they don't want to talk with their mother, and they don't want to tell her what is going on, because she is always talking through their accounts, or she is doing this and she is always advising and this that. So they don't like the mother in teenage especially. So in this
Yeah.
time father can be really very helpful. But how he will become helpful in teenage? Only when he was helpful to the child in his toddler or in his childhood. Only then
Yeah.
child will understand that the father is my friend in his teens. So this is necessary to start from the beginning. I feel this is necessary from intrauterine time when the mother is pregnant. That father should be
Yeah.
available at those time also. And this should start from the beginning. That to be available for your family is very necessary for the father also, and father plays really very important role in this upbringing, because in the studies also they say that children are most likely to follow the schedule and routine of a father as compared to their mother. So father is very important, and whatever he is going to do, the child is going to learn. So he should understand. So it's say that all the fathers keep your lazy bones aside and be the change to see in your children, because that is really very much helpful for the
Exactly.
child when he grows up, when she grows up, because they look up to you. They look up to you of what they want in the future life. So it is very
Mm-hmm.
necessary for them to understand this.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that's really important, and this is one of the major issues that we probably didn't know we had. And thank you for bringing it up and bringing it to a light. Again, coming to our next question, ma'am. How do the parents connect with the children to help them feel seen and safe and soothed and appreciated? Not in just in these times, but like in general, if we talk about it.
So this is a very good question, I'll say. So this is the thing I feel that every parent should ask their own children, that
Okay.
how they can be helpful to them, how they can make them feel how they can make them feel cared or affectionate. How can they be more affectionate towards their feeling? So this is a question I feel that every parent should ask their children, not daily but at least in a week, that how can they be more helpful, more emotionally, socially available to the child. So
Hmm.
this can be done that we can talk to our child daily. We can ask
Mhm.
him or her what is bothering them. That if they are feeling any stress, it should not be like I am going throughout the day 24 hours asking I'm 24 times that oh you are looking stressed or you are looking tense. What is the issue? What is the problem? No, this is not the way of asking your child. No, we should like
Mhm.
we should come up to say to you that this thing I'm not able to understand why we are in this COVID times, or why my friend is not talking with me, or why daddy is not coming early, why grandparents are not coming to our house. We should come up with this question. The environment in the house should be such friendly that they should come up with this question, that why this thing is happening in the house. We should have some queries, we should have some questions, and it should be like that. So when you are asking your child repeatedly that
Mhm.
should I do something to make you feel secure or make you feel like to show my affection towards you? Should I do something? When you ask this thing to your child repeatedly, gradually he or she will understand that yes, my parents were there for me and I can say this to them, even though this is a silly thing, but I can ask it to them. I can ask it like I can ask them this thing and I'll get some answer or I'll get some solution for this thing. So when you ask repeatedly, they will understand the need of this thing. Secondly, you can always, I can say that have a meeting, like a round table meeting kind of thing in the house in a week. Like this will really create an environment. Like they will feel that this meeting is going to happen in the house on Wednesday, and I'll have to say my things that whatever questions and whatever things are bothering me, I'll have to write it down in my diary and I'll have to tell it to my parents. So you keep this thing planned in advance. Like on Wednesday, we will all sit together. I like mother and father should also say that I'll keep my queries, I'll keep my
Yeah.
questions, what is bothering me, what I am not
Mm-hmm.
feeling good about, and what I'm not liking in father's behavior or not in children's behavior, whatever it is. But I'll keep my
Mm-hmm.
questions. The children will come up with their questions. Father will come up with his like questions, and whoever entire family member is the whoever wants to get involved in this thing, so they can keep this round table kind of thing where everyone will sit, right, like ask whatever is troubling them. Like child should say what the parent should do to make him feel emotionally and socially safe. Like this is very
Mm.
important because physically everyone is going to safe. Everyone is going to keep their child safe. So the
Obviously.
importance is emotional and social safety. This is very
Mm.
important in as I have said that it is not emotional distancing which we are following. It should be
Mm.
physical distancing.
Physical
So
distancing.
we should be very clear to the child that what I can ask from my parent about this emotional and social stability. So he or she can write it down. Parents can discuss these things with their children. They can give their opinions. They can have some solutions to this thing. And then they can cross out all the solutions that are not possible after discussing with the child. Like I can explain this with an example. Like
Mm.
you can say that the child is having an issue with the food. He is not
Mm.
liking that mother is making chapati every day, and he or she has to eat this chapati every day. So he can get. So this is a small thing, very small thing.
Very
But
small,
when
yeah.
you personify thing, as I have always said, when you personify a thing, the child will feel that he or she is on a mission, and he or
Mm.
she has to give some solution to this thing. So when
Yeah.
he or she is having problem with this thing, so they'll come up with some solutions. Like child will come up with this solution that I will eat roti every alternate day, or
Mm.
I'll eat two fruits instead of this roti, or I'll eat bhakri instead of this roti. And mother will come up with some solutions that, like, no, I feel that you should eat roti every day. I feel that fruit should be eaten in addition to this roti. So there are
Yeah.
five or six solutions that are written down. So now you will have to discuss the solution with your child. Like this
Yeah.
solution of eating roti alternate days can be thought about. This
Yeah.
solution of
Basically coming
eating
to a middle
bhakri.
ground.
So when it is coming from the child, it becomes child mission. It becomes a
Mm.
like the solution is very much clear to the child, and the child feel that this is really a problem for me and my mother. Even though it
Yeah.
is small, it is a problem for me and my mother, and we should find some solution to it. So this is
Yeah.
just an example. You can imply this thing in whatever thing you feel. Like sit
You
down, write about it, find options, find solutions, and ultimately reach a solution. So this can be done. And this will really help to stay connected with your child, I feel, because
yeah.
this is the way he will feel safe, he will feel soothed, and he will feel appreciated. And the thing
Yeah.
is that the main thing about all this thing is that talk, talk, and talk. So you should
Yeah.
always talk with your child. You should make him feel respected. You should make him feel appreciated. And you should show your love and adoration in your actions. You always show it in your words, but you should show it in your
Yeah.
actions. It is very
Action.
necessary. Like giving a
Definitely.
small hug twice a day, or giving a peck on cheek twice a day, or giving a peck on forehead twice a day. Anything can be done, but show your
Yeah.
love and affection in your action, because always we say that action speaks louder than words. So you
Absolutely.
should follow this I think, few things that will really help to stay connected with your child.
Absolutely. I think that's lovely. That's a very lovely solution to this. And I think a lot of parents can inculcate this, and in that way, the children could be heard and loved and appreciated the way you do. I think that's a lovely way to end the questions here, ma'am. Anything that you want to add, anything that you want to tell our parents who are with us right now? Any message from your side?
I always feel as the parents should always try to become friend for their children, and in such time they should even try to become best friend to their children. There is a difference between friend and best friend, okay? So always the children in routine times they have their own best friends, they have their pen friends, school friends, neighborhood friends, etc., etc. So many friends. But in this time, they have only you, and you should really understand this, that being there for the child is the necessity always. So in such times, you should try to become friend and even best friend for your child. You should always take opinion of the child. Don't give only advices to the child. Don't always try to be a constant guiding lamp to your child. Try to become a person whom he can ask questions, whom he can seek a genuine opinion instead of advice. So this is very necessary. You should understand difference between each word, opinion, advice, and everything. That you should always become a friend to your child. You should try to become a person whom he can seek an opinion instead of advice. And you should see the things from the perspective of a child. Like, if I was in his or her place, what would I do? How I will tackle this situation? And then when you sit there, when you wear their shoes, you will understand that only then you can make them wear your shoes. So see, when you see it from, and always never underestimate them. Even if they are 3 years, never underestimate them. You should not tell that, oh, you are so small, you will not understand this thing. No, never. Just make them sit, make them, try to make them understand that this is the problem. And I'm really telling you that you should try it with yourself, your problems also. Like, I see, I am not feeling comfortable with your father, he's not giving me time, and I'm not feeling comfortable with this person, or I'm not happy about this thing. You talk with the child. They will come out with amazing solutions. So you should never ever underestimate your child. You should consider them your equal, consider them your friend. Then and then only they will develop as an individual. Then and then only they will become an independent. And the main aim of every parent's life is that to make your child independent as an individual. Parents don't want their child to be completely dependent on them. And if they want, I really say in our culture, in our Indian culture, it is a norm that parents want the child to be dependent on them for a very long time. And this is really very, very disheartening, and I will say that this is very discouraging for a development of an individual. So you should try to make your child as much independent as possible, and from the age like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, from the age, whichever age is possible. You should not make him dependent on you, because when he will be dependent on you, he will not be confident. He will never develop as an individual. So these are the few things I feel that every parent should keep in mind, and this is basically the parenting thing. Be it any COVID time, be it swine flu time, be it plague time, be it any time. So this is basically the importance of parenting, I feel, and it should be followed by every parent. And this will really help to make a child grow and make you as a parent also grow.
Thank you so much again, ma'am. I mean, I don't know about the parents, but being a child, I think you solved a lot of my issues. Just listening to you, I think I a lot of things became clear, and I hope it did for the parents as well. Your words were really, really encouraging, and I think it was so, you said it in a such a simple and such an easy manner that I think everyone of us understood it. And again, thank you so much for taking the time out to be with us here this evening and to address our parents and our concerns and issues. Again, we salute you, ma'am, for every work, each and every work that you're doing for the children, be it in the COVID times or in your general times. Thank you again. Just thank you for being here.
I am also very thankful to you for inviting me and giving me this opportunity. Really, because I personally feel that every parent should be educated, and then only they will know how to teach their child.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it is my responsibility as a pediatrician and as a person who is knowing this thing that I should educate everyone and as much people as possible exactly what is the right thing for them to do. So really thankful to you for giving me this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Anything else that you would like to know? Otherwise, we can sign off, ma'am. We are done with our questions. And anyone from the audience, if there is anything that you would want to ask, ma'am, Dr. Ushma, ma'am, we are here for a couple of more minutes, but can we just wait for a few minutes? I think somebody wants to answer a question. I mean, ask a question to you, ma'am.
Sure.
Okay, Janali Shah is saying thank you, Ushma ma'am. She agrees with what I say and she's thankful for you. Puaki also said she is also congratulating you and she's also agreeing with what I said. Basically, they're all thankful to you for your contribution. Okay, Ankita also again asked the question, how to make children more independent. I think owing like what you said in during last time, like what we were speaking about, I think it's related to that. And she also says wonderful session. Thank you so much.
Thank you everyone.
Yeah.
So see, this making your children independent starts from, I think, from the age of being a toddler. See, you cannot always be available for your child. And this is the thing parents should understand from the time they become parents. Okay. So one thing is that you should not be available, or you should not always be, even if you are there, you should not always be available to your child. The child should learn, the child should make mistakes. The main thing is that you cannot always be protective, overprotective to him. Like the main thing when you become parent, the main concern is that I know this thing from my experience. Parent will feel that way. That I know this thing from my experience that he or she, if he will do this thing in this way, he will fail and he will be so sad after it that he will be sad or he will be not talking with people there. And it will be a really difficult phase of his life if he is doing it. So when I am knowing it, that if he will do this thing in this way and he will feel sad, then why should I not give advice? This is the main thing that comes before a parent, that if I know this thing from my experience, that why my experience is not helpful to the child. So the thing is that you have also learned from your mistakes. It was not, everything is not taught to you by your parents. Okay?
Absolutely.
So you have to learn from your mistakes, and this thing you should always keep in your mind, that the child is, whatever the child is going to learn through mistakes, he is going to remember it for a longer time. He will understand it in a better way. So when he learns from his mistake, he will understand it in a better way. So sometimes we have to restrict ourselves from giving advices to the child. Sometimes we have to restrict ourselves from letting him make the mistakes. Like, let the child make mistake, let him understand.
Let them learn on their own. Experience is the best teacher, one may say so.
So this is one thing we can do to make our child independent and less dependent on us. Second thing we can do to make our child independent is to make them, help them write down the solutions to the problem they are facing. So for example, we can say that he is having an issue with his or her friend in the school, and they are not on talking terms, and they were best friend in some times, and now because of some issue they are not talking with each other. So first of all, as a parent, it's your responsibility to just ask that why you are not talking with your friend whom you were talking like hours, and now he or she is not calling you. See, this is the
Mm-hmm.
only responsibility of the parent, to
Hmm.
ask. Okay,
Ask.
just to ask that why you are not talking with that person. So first time, maybe when you ask this question for the first time, the I think he or she will not answer. He or she will just say that nothing, it's our issue and we are going through some phases,
Yeah, they
and
won't. Yeah.
they will not answer this thing. Okay,
They,
so this is
hmm.
one week and this thing is over. After 1 or 2 weeks, again it's a responsibility of the parent to ask. So we will just ask that why you are not talking with your friend, or like I feel you might be missing that person. You can say it
Hmm.
that way. So
Hmm. Hmm.
you make it uh, like you should expose, or you should see in that way that you are trying to understand the feeling of the child. You should
Child.
not,
Yeah.
you should not make it in a way that the child will feel that you are interfering, or you are
Hmm.
asking questions because you are concerned.
It's
You should be
invading their
concerned.
privacy in any manner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You should be concerned about the feeling of the child. Like I
Child.
feel that you might be missing that person, not talking with him or her from such a long time. Maybe like you might be having so many things to talk about and you're not talking with him now. You can say it that way. So like after
Hmm.
asking 2 or 3 times in this way, the child will come up. The child will say that we had this problem and we had a fight over this thing, and now we are not talking. I really miss him or her, but we are not talking because I feel that he or she was wrong. So now
Yeah.
when they say that he or she was wrong, tell them why you feel he or she was wrong. Let them write it out, let them discuss it with you, and let them come to a solution. Okay,
Yeah.
this is just an example. See, I am making it clear through an example. So, in this
Yeah.
way, he will or she will understand that every problem has a solution, and you can have a solution that can be helpful in daily life. So, this will become a habit for a child. Like when you have a problem, you can always write things down, and then you can have a solution which can help our relation or which can help our friendship, etc. etc. So in this way, this will become a habit for the child. And then after 5, 6, 10, 15 solutions, 10, 15 problems, he or she will start doing it on his own. And this is what we always want.
Yeah.
So this is
Absolutely.
the way, so this is another way to make our child independent. So I feel this is a very long lecture. So I'm just give example
No,
of
no,
2, 3 things.
absolutely, absolutely. I think this makes it a lot more easier for people to understand
Yeah.
when they relate to a certain problem and such a common problem that they face. And
So
I
this
think talking about how
is
to deal with children by being their friends, just by being there for a minute, just by trying to understand their feelings and their point of things from their perspective. I think this answer one of our another question is how can we be friends, or are there some situations when being friend doesn't help? So how to handle that sort of situations?
See, how can we be friends is a very simple thing. I think we can be
Yeah.
friends by being cool. Okay, cool parents. What? So, see, the main thing of being friends is being on the same level or same terms with your child. So when
Yeah, considering
you
them you're
just try
equal, as you
to
said.
you just try to understand that we are going to a school. You just imagine that you are a 7-year-old, you are going to a
Hmm.
school, and you are your first day in the school, and you are new to everyone. So whom you
Hmm.
will select as a friend?
Yeah.
See, this is the condition. Okay, so the child will select a parent as a friend only when they are on the same terms. If the
Yeah.
if father or mother is very disciplinary, very strict, the environment in the house is never friendly, never cool, never never in a way that the child can speak up, they are never going to become your friend. So you should
Hmm.
always think this thing from the perspective of a child, like he is a 7-year-old and everyone around him is 7-year-old, so he will easily become friend. So when you are a parent to a 7-year-old, you have to become something like 7-year-old to become his friend. So
Yeah. Absolutely.
this will really help. So when you are a father to a teenage boy or a teenage girl,
Hmm.
you have to think something about something like teenage, like he will be very rebellious, or he will be very he wants to do this thing, he want to explore this thing, he is curious about this thing. So he will be curious, and you will have to be curious. Like if you are just reading newspaper entire day when you are coming home and never curious about anything in the house, then he is not going to become your friend. That is an obvious thing.
Yeah,
So when
absolutely.
you want to become a friend of your own children, you have to think at their terms, at their level, and at their age, and then only you can become their. Not everything that we should start behaving childish and we should start tying two ponies and wearing uniform. That is not the way, obviously. But see, this is the way of explaining it. I am trying to tell that you have to think at their level. And what was the
Yeah.
next part of the question?
So another part of the question that Janali asked was, there are some situations when being a friend doesn't help. So how do you tackle those kind of situations?
See,
Well,
there are very few situations I feel that cannot be handled as a friend. See,
mhm.
see, 7 year or 5 year old child will have a smaller problems that can be solved by you as a friend.
Friend,
And
yeah.
the teenage person will have like, see, you are an adult. So you will have better understanding, better experience. Obviously, I know, we know that you will definitely have better understanding, better explanation, and better details about the thing which they are facing. Okay, but
Hmm.
when we are dealing with the problems of a 5 year old, or when we are dealing with problems of a 17 year old, so this is like, they will definitely have a problem, but you will definitely have a solution, even as a
Solution.
friend. See, your solution will be imagined, I mean, thought as an adult, but projected to the child as a teenage. Okay. So you should
Yeah. Yeah.
keep
That
your
makes sense.
solution as an adult, but always project to the child in a way that is acceptable to the child. Okay. So you
Absolutely.
this thing is this thing starts with the thing that you should not give advice. When you start giving advices, you become adult. A adult. So you should not think in the way of giving advice to your child. You should always think of giving your solution to the child, or offer the solution to the child in the way of a friend. I mean, a friend. Okay. So this will really help. Think as an adult, but project it according to the age. So I
Age.
think this can be explained by an example. For example, a teenage having some problem with uh, I should say about sexual awareness, because this is the topic also
Yeah.
which everyone speaks about.
It's
So this
very
is also an
stigmatized. Yeah.
important topic, and how to make a 12-year-old understand about sexual awareness, and how we should project this thing to our child in a way that is acceptable to us, to society, and to the child. We have to see three faces of this thing. That this
Corners.
should
Yeah.
be acceptable to the everyone. So this first, the parents should understand that the sexual awareness thing is important from the age of 7 years, 10 years, 12 years, 13 years. But the thing is that at 7 years, the thing is different. What we are going to explain them. At 10 years, it is going to be little bit advanced. At 13 years, it is going to be little bit advanced.
One.
So the
Yeah.
things come up with this, that the how to make them aware of nuisances. All those is available on the internet, on social media, and everywhere. Like we can imagine anything that is available to the child, and how to make them aware of this thing. So, see, you have to talk to your child. There is no other way out. You have to talk to your child, and as a friend. So now imagine yourself as a friend of a 12-year-old boy. So you can say that, oh, I was going through this website today, and I came across this thing. And I
Okay.
feel that it is very disturbing to me, because I am not able to understand what they are trying to show and how they are explaining this thing. Do you understand? See,
Okay.
this
That
is,
way.
this,
Yeah.
yeah, this is the way, like, you are asking also, you are trying to know what the child is already knowing, and you are
Yeah.
also trying to give what you know. Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
this is, you can say that, oh, I was going through this thing, and this thing suddenly came up, and have you faced this situation ever? Like, what did you do in that situation? And then you can discuss this thing. And when he or she starts answering, then you can discuss this thing, that this thing can happen to you and this thing will come up, what you should do in such times and how you should handle it. So be it any situation. This is the topic I
Hmm.
feel that everyone should talk about, like mental health. So there should not be an
Yeah,
ignored.
I
So
definitely
this should
second that.
yeah. So this should not be an ignored topic. So that's why I came up with this example. So in this way you can make your child, like I said before, like there are very few situations which you might not be able to handle as a friend. See, because you are thinking as an adult, you are just projecting it as a friend. So there are
Yeah,
very
yeah.
few situations in which you will have to think as an adult and project it as an adult. Very few, maybe never.
Hmm.
Okay? Because you are going to think as an adult only.
Definitely, definitely. I think we are done with our questions, and we took a lot of your time, ma'am. But then again, so helpful and so insightful, ma'am, and in such a beautiful and easy manner. I think we all understood. And thank you again for being here with us. Thank you for taking the time out. And yeah, just thank you for all your work, ma'am.
Pleasure is all mine, no worries.
Thank
Okay.
you so much.
Thank you
I'm
so
going to
much.
end the
Thank
session
you.
now, ma'am. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Thank
Thank
you,
you. Bye.
everyone. Mhm.
Have
Bye.
a great time, ma'am. Have a great day.
The same to you. Be safe.
Oh, be safe. Yeah, you too, ma'am. Okay.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.